Why did one of Overwatch's most legendary Genji players walk away from the game that made him famous? Why did Necros, the player known for some of the most jaw-dropping mechanics in Overwatch history, decide to start over in an entirely new shooter? From accusations of cheating to pushing heroes such as Genji and Spider-Man beyond what anyone thought possible, Necros became a name that struck fear into players, including with figures such as XQC and Shroud. He's become a top-tier competitor and an up-and-coming content creator sensation breaking into the gaming community. This isn't just about a story of a top player switching games, it's a story of dominance, controversy, and reinvention. This is how Necros conquered Overwatch and how he's about to do it again in Marvel Rivals. To see where this all began, Vladan Konstantinov was born in March 28, 1999 and lives in Serbia, started his content creation career as far back as 2016. Necros' journey into making videos began with Overwatch, a team-based first-person shooter with unique abilities and roles such as tank, damage, and support published in 2016. Drawn to its dynamic gameplay and diverse hero roster, he found his main character with Genji. Necros' first channel, Necros Shorts, was where he uploaded his first video of a clip highlight of Genji in 2016, right around the time of Overwatch's beta launch. Necros specialized in using Genji, as all of his gameplay and clips entailed that one character. He would very soon then stream on Twitch while posting highlights onto his channel as he progressed into making some long-form Genji content. As his clips and content were making the rounds of YouTube showcasing his top-tier gameplay, it elevated his audience to gain traction when starting out for his Twitch and YouTube, which complemented each other. Viewers of him were first astonished towards his extremely fast flick shots and targeted precision onto enemies. While viewing his clips, Necros has owned the ability to execute rapid and precise 180-degree turns with Genji. His ability to rapidly and accurately snap to targets, sometimes even predicting enemy movements, showcases his refined muscle memory with training and deep understanding of the game's mechanics. This skill allows him to secure eliminations that appear instantaneous, reflecting his high level of precision. Necros utilizes a high mouse sensitivity setting, which combined with his practice control, allows for those swift and precise movements. His comfort with this high sensitivity is a result of extensive practice, enabling him to perform complex maneuvers with consistency as it levitates Genji's playstyle. Necros' playstyle is a fast, snappy, and aggressive approach that relies heavily on his skillful mechanics and precise execution. This is what contrasted him from other players, where he thrives on a high-risk, high-reward playstyle, making him one of the most electrifying Genji players to watch. Unlike passive or methodical Genji mains, Necros constantly applies pressure, using poke damage and wall climbing to make himself unpredictable while maintaining optimal positioning. Since Genji is countered by crowd control abilities and burst damage, his dash usage is highly disciplined, never committing prematurely unless he's certain he can secure a kill or escape safely. This constant pressure forces enemies to react to him rather than the other way around. However, his aggression isn't reckless, it's calculated. He understands when to engage, when to retreat, and how to use high ground positioning to his advantage. And so by combining his rapid execution and mastery of Genji's combos, Necros consistently dominated fights. As mastering Genji requires an elite level of mechanical skill and game sense, these are qualities that only a handful of players have perfected. Necros, however, didn't just master Genji, but he pushed the hero to its absolute limits, making him one of the most feared Genji players in the game's history. His mechanical dominance and aggressive, high-reward playstyle didn't just make him a standout in ranked play, it translated into the competitive scene as well. He first entered the competitive scene when the game came out in 2016, participating in online tournaments. His exceptional mechanical ability, particularly with Genji, quickly earned him recognition, and he began making a name for himself in various competitions. In November 2017, Necros took a major step forward by competing in his first in-person tournament, marking the beginning of his experience on larger stages. Unlike many professional players who stuck with a single organization, Necros competed with multiple teams throughout his career, adjusting to different teammates, playstyles, and strategies. This versatility allowed him to maintain a strong presence in the competitive Overwatch scene, even as metas shifted and new and different challenges arose. Between 2016 and 2017, Necros primarily dominated A-tier tournaments, proving himself as one of the most intimidating Genji players outside of the Overwatch League. However, after this early competitive success, he took a short hiatus from tournament play before making a return in late 2021. His comeback was marked not just by renewed competition, but by a shift in how he engaged with the community. He was streaming him competing in tournaments, which drew massive viewership and helped solidify his reputation as both a competitive player and a high-level content creator. This decision allowed fans to experience his incredible mechanical skill in real time, turning his streams into a hub for those looking to learn from one of the best Genji players in the world. Because Necros was based in Serbia, his competitive experience was largely centered around Europe, where he faced some of the toughest players in the region. Despite not competing in the Overwatch League, he consistently proved himself against top-tier talent, earning thousands of dollars in prize money across multiple tournaments. His ability to adapt to different team environments and perform at a high level, despite the ever-changing nature of Overwatch's meta, is a testament to his deep understanding of the game and his unparalleled execution of Genji's mechanics. But despite Necros' undeniable skill and impressive tournament performances, his rapid mechanical execution and near-flawless precision led to controversy within the Overwatch community. As his dominance with Genji grew, so did skepticism from players and spectators who found his reaction speed, tracking, and flick accuracy almost inhuman. One of the most controversial moments in Necros' career history came when in 2018, a clip surfaced of him seemingly locking into a Pharah in an instant, snapping to her before she was even fully visible on screen. The speed and precision of the flick appeared so unnatural that it immediately fueled accusations of aimbotting or scripting, with some claiming it was outright impossible for human reflexes to execute a shot that fast. As the clip circulated, members of the Overwatch community began analyzing his gameplay frame by frame, breaking down his movements in slow motion to search for any inconsistencies that might suggest the use of illicit software. The idea that a player, even one as skilled as Necros, could track and flick that fast without external assistance led to widespread debates about whether he was genuinely one of the most mechanically gifted players in the game, or if he was hiding something. So, to address the controversy after numerous of Reddit posts, comments, and other professional players' videos have been made on to criticize him, Necros uploaded his own video titled "Response to the Scripting Accusations," where he directly confronted and refuted the claims that he was cheating. In the video, he explained that he had put in thousands of hours into playing Genji, building up an extreme level of muscle memory that allowed him to instinctively execute 180-degree turnarounds with near-perfect accuracy. He acknowledged that the clip did look suspicious at first glance, but he defended the play by stating that he knew that Pharah was behind him, meaning he wasn't reacting blindly, but he was predicting. He also admitted that some luck was involved in landing the flick so cleanly, calling it one of his best shots ever recorded. Most of his audience supported him, including recognizable Overwatch players, within his own comment section, with the video's positive like-to-dislike ratio critiqued on how the Overwatch community can be overreactive to top players. Despite Necros' effort to clear his name after the scripting accusations, controversy followed him once again with the release of Overwatch 2. In 2023, new allegations surfaced, this time even more serious, that Necros was accused of outright cheating and was reportedly banned by Blizzard for suspicious activity onto one of his accounts.
I've actually been banned. Huh? Why? What? What did I do on Scriptos? This is one of my oldest accounts.
Unlike the earlier accusations, which were based on player skepticism and slowed-down footage, this time the claims were backed by Blizzard's own anti-cheat detection, leading to an account ban from Overwatch 2. This incident reignited debates within the community. Some believed that the ban was clear evidence of wrongdoing, while others argued that it was a false positive, suggesting Blizzard's detection system may have unfairly flagged him due to how the system operates in banning accounts that undergo a massive amount of reporting as a false flag. While the accusations cast a shadow over his career for a time, they did little to change the fact that Necros was already one of the most skilled Genji players in the world. Yet, despite his undeniable talent and reputation as one of the best Genji players outside of the Overwatch League, Necros never made the leap to professional play in the league. Many fans and analysts wondered why a player with his level of mechanical skill and highlight-worthy performances never found himself on an OWL roster. The reasons for this are speculated to be a personal choice focusing on content creation, streaming, and competing in smaller tournaments where he could maintain control over his personal brand and playstyle. His ability to amass large viewership on Twitch and YouTube allowed him to create a sustainable career outside of the OWL, something that few high-level players have been able to do successfully. Streaming almost every day, he developed a dedicated audience that appreciated his raw mechanical skill, fast-paced gameplay, and educational insights into mastering Genji. In April 2022, Necros launched a new YouTube channel, doubling down on content creation and refining his online presence. He had always enjoyed making videos, and at this point, with the freedom to play the game on his own terms, he embraced the role of an entertainer, a teacher, and a high-level competitor outside of the Overwatch League structure. His content showcased montages, his high-ranked gameplay, and helpful instructional videos offering both highlight-worthy moments and valuable learning material for aspiring Genji players at the time. However, as time went on, a sense of dissatisfaction began to surface in Necros' content. While he continued to deliver high-level Genji gameplay, Overwatch 2's declining competitive ecosystem and frustrating design decisions made the game feel increasingly restrictive. The lack of meaningful updates contributed to a growing feeling that Overwatch 2 was losing its identity. For a player like Necros who thrived on mechanical expression and a fast, high-skill hero like Genji, the shifting meta and Blizzard's priorities made it harder to enjoy the game at the highest level. Despite his passion for the hero and the game, it was clear that something was really missing. As he continued to stream and create content, Necros began looking for a new challenge, something that would reignite his passion for competitive gaming. That search led him to Marvel Rivals, a fresh hero shooter that offered new mechanics and a dynamic combat system. Instead of being tied to Overwatch 2's declining meta and frustrating gameplay changes, Necros saw Marvel Rivals as an opportunity to redefine himself in a new, fast-paced environment while still applying the same mechanical mastery that had made him one of the best Genji players in the world. For Necros, the appeal of Marvel Rivals lay in its dynamic gameplay and the opportunity to master a new set of heroes, allowing him to leverage his mechanical skills and strategic insights in a novel environment. Much like Genji in Overwatch, Spider-Man is one of the most agile and skill-expressive heroes, making him an ideal choice for Necros, who excels at fast movement and precise and quick decision-making mechanics. His web-swinging ability functions similarly to Genji's wall climb, allowing him to reposition rapidly, while his acrobatic melee attacks mirror Genji's swift, close-quarters combat style. Necros' transition from Genji in Overwatch to Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals was a natural progression. Both characters demand exceptional mechanical reflexes and strategic positioning, which are qualities that Necros has consistently demonstrated. The synergy between character mechanics allowed Necros to seamlessly adapt his skills to maintain his aggressive and fast-paced approach. As he transitioned into streaming and uploading Marvel Rivals content, his impact on the community became immediately clear. His prior mastery of Genji in Overwatch gave him an edge, with high mobility, a hero like Spider-Man, allowing him to immediately establish himself as one of the most skilled players in the game's early competitive scene. Within weeks of Marvel Rivals launching its beta, Necros had already ranked among the top players, consistently dominating lobbies and standing out in leaderboards. While many players were still adjusting to the unique mechanics of Marvel Rivals, Necros adapted effortlessly, using his deep understanding of movement, positioning, and burst damage playstyles to outmaneuver other opponents. His gameplay was so impressive that even FPS icons like XQC and Shroud took notice, reacting to his clips and marveling at his rapid adaptation and near-flawless execution. His natural talent for hero shooters with skill-based movement and melee combat made him an instant standout in the community, drawing even more viewers to his Twitch streams and YouTube videos. With his growing influence in the Marvel Rivals community, Necros quickly transitioned from just being a top player to actively shaping how the game is played. His high-speed, mechanically demanding playstyle has not only set the standard for individual skill, but it has also introduced strategies and techniques that are now being adopted by other top players in the game. Much like in Overwatch, where his aggressive Genji play helped define high-level gameplay, his approach to Spider-Man and other mobile heroes in Marvel Rivals is beginning to influence the game's competitive meta. One of the biggest innovations Necros brought to Marvel Rivals is his hyper-aggressive movement-based combat, reminiscent of how he played Genji in Overwatch. While many early players were using Spider-Man primarily for mobility and evasion, Necros pushed the hero's limits, utilizing constant web swings with rapid disengages and perfectly timed melee combos to dominate fights. He turned Spider-Man into a lethal duelist, proving that high-mobility heroes aren't just for scouting and harassing, but can be primary damage dealers when playing with precision. Another strategy that Necros carried over from Overwatch was his understanding of target priority and ability cooldown tracking. In Overwatch, elite Genji players like him knew exactly when to dive in for a kill and when to back off, tracking enemy abilities to ensure they weren't diving into a losing fight. In Marvel Rivals, Necros applies the same mindset, knowing exactly when to commit to an engagement and when to reset using Spider-Man's web mechanics. With a high level of environmental awareness, in order to strategically control fights and position himself advantageously, the skills he developed in Overwatch from understanding map control and verticality have set him apart in Marvel Rivals. As a content creator and competitor, Necros' dominance in Marvel Rivals goes beyond just winning fights, but that he is changing how the game is played at the highest level. His gameplay is being studied, his strategies are being adopted by other top players, and his presence in the competitive scene is shaping the future of Marvel Rivals in real time. His own content creation has significantly shaped the Marvel Rivals community, particularly among Spider-Man players. Through detailed guides and live streams, he has provided valuable insights into mastering Spider-Man, inspiring both new and experienced players to refine their skills. The move to Marvel Rivals positively impacted Necros' audience metrics. By embracing a game with a rapidly expanding player base, he attracted new viewers interested in high-level Marvel Rivals content. Necros' transition to Marvel Rivals was met with overwhelmingly positive reception from his audience, with many of his longtime Overwatch fans excited to see him take on a new challenge. Given his reputation for high-level mechanical skill and fast-paced gameplay, his followers recognized that Marvel Rivals was a perfect fit for his strengths. Instead of resistance to the shift, many fans saw this as an opportunity for Necros to showcase his talents in a fresh environment, free from the frustrations that had plagued Overwatch 2. As Necros has been improving at the game, he has solidified his position as a top-tier Spider-Man player in Marvel Rivals, achieving the prestigious Rank 1 status documented in his video, How I Hit Rank Number 1 Tricking Spider-Man. Necros' journey to Rank 1 Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals really wasn't an overnight achievement. It was a battle and evolution of skill and improvement that reflected everything he had built in Overwatch. At first, he dominated casual lobbies, quickly climbing through ranked matches and establishing himself as one of the most dangerous Spider-Man players in the game. His content was proof of his progression, showcasing his unique playstyle, a hyper-aggressive, high-speed approach that turned Spider-Man into a relentless duelist rather than just a mobility-based scout. As he refined his mechanics, he found himself consistently ranked among the best Spider-Man players globally. But being in the top tier wasn't enough, he wanted to be the best. Breaking into the top 5 was the first major milestone, but it came with challenges. The competition at this level was cutthroat, filled with players who had also dedicated themselves to Spider-Man's mechanics. He couldn't rely solely on raw mechanics, he had to outthink and outmaneuver his opponents at every opportunity. He started studying his own gameplay, identifying every micro-adjustment he could make to push himself further. He practiced perfect web swing routes and technical mechanics to avoid taking damage while staying offensive, optimized his target priority in fights, and timed his abilities down to the millisecond. Eventually, he surpassed the competition, rising to the rank 1 position. It wasn't just about a number, it was about proving that he could do it again. that even in a brand new game with a brand new meta, he could rise to the top through skill, adaptation, and sheer willpower and practice. His streams and videos documented every step of his journey, drawing in fans who were eager to learn what made his Spider-Man different. His playstyle became the gold standard, influencing how other top players approached the hero. Becoming rank 1 really wasn't the end, it was the beginning of his dominance in Marvel Rivals. He had claimed the top spot, but now, the challenge was staying there while the rest of the world tried to catch up. With Necros' dominance in competitive play and his influence as a content creator, he's not just another top player, he's becoming a defining figure in the Marvel Rivals community. Whether or not he chooses to go pro, his presence is already shaping how the game is played and learned. His streamed matches and deep mechanical knowledge of Spider-Man have set a standard for high-level gameplay, making him one of the most studied and respected players in the scene. Beyond raw skill, Necros is actively influencing the meta and guiding new players much like he did in Overwatch. His YouTube tutorials, tier lists, and in-depth strategy breakdowns help players refine their mechanics, while his streams offer direct engagement where fans can ask questions, analyze his plays, and learn how to approach fights the way a top-ranked player does. With Marvel Rivals still in its early stages, having a recognizable high-level player pushing the boundaries of what's possible gives the community a role model to watch and learn from. More than just a competitor, Necros is a leader in shaping the culture around the game. As Marvel Rivals continues to grow, so will his role as one of the game's most influential figures. As Necros dominates the leaderboards and defines the Spider-Man meta, the big question remains: what's next for him in Marvel Rivals? His ability to compete at the highest level makes him a prime candidate for professional play, especially if Marvel Rivals develops a structured esports scene. Given his competitive success in Overwatch, it wouldn't be surprising if teams and organizations start reaching out, offering him a shot at a pro career in the game. At the same time, Necros has built a massive audience through content creation, and his shift from Overwatch to Marvel Rivals has already expanded his reach. His Twitch streams, YouTube videos, and competitive highlights continue to attract thousands of viewers who tune in to study his gameplay or simply watch him dominate lobbies. With his growing influence in the community, he might choose to remain a content creator, balancing high-level competition with entertaining and educational videos, rather than committing to the rigid structure of a pro team. The decision ultimately comes down to what Necros wants for his future. Will he go all in on Marvel Rivals esports, or will he continue building his brand as one of the most influential content creators in the game? Either way, one thing is for certain: he's not just playing Marvel Rivals, he's shaping the game's competitive scene and its community.